Hello, how are you? Welcome to Frankenstein Tea. I'm Kristen. I'm the library director of the Island Free Library here on Block Island. I'm in the library today. This is the upper level of the library. This is our Rhode Island collection and reference section. Although the reference section has been shrinking and shrinking and shrinking over the years, Google has replaced reference. Not totally. This library still has plenty of books for reference materials. Frankenstein Tea is a daily program from the Island Free Library. It is an afternoon check-in for adults and adult listeners. I read adult short stories. I stress that because sometimes I read swears and I read adult topics and themes and language and all of that. So it's an adult program. So listen now, but if your kids or grandkids or great-grandkids are hanging around, put me on pause and listen later after they've gone to bed. Although I think today's story is fine for any listeners, but just in general, this is an adult program. I've liked this program. I started it during Shelter in Place in March at the library here, and it gives me a chance to communicate to my patrons and for patrons off island and for in library school, you're taught to call them future patrons. So people that aren't patrons, but someday maybe you will be future unknown patrons. So I get to send little messages to you about the library and the weather on the island and library life on Block Island, and a chance for us to check in with each other, right? Like, how am I doing? How are you doing? We have a little checklist that we go through sometimes, a couple times a week. The checklist says, have you had a regular meal? Have you showered? Have you had enough sleep? Are you thinking kind thoughts about yourself and others? Have you had fresh air? Have you connected with someone you love? Have you moved your body? All those things are please go and do those things, or one or two of those things off this list, or even one of those things off this list. The don't on this list is don't compare yourself to others. So that was like something I gleaned from somewhere and wrote it on a scrap paper. And sure enough, I break it out a couple times a week to remind ourselves about taking care of ourselves and taking care of our own mental health. And really, how important that is. Like, that's a real key to this program. A very strong premise for myself and running this program daily is like to keep our connections. It's okay if these times are tricky. These times are definitely tricky. They're trying, they're difficult, they're confusing, they're anxiety driven, rising. I don't know how to say that. They drive our anxiety up. We feel insecure, alone. All those things are very natural to feel right now. Maybe you don't feel them today. Maybe you're having a stellar day. Go for it. Are you having a stellar day? Those days happen too. So weather-wise, it's a stellar day. We've had such a traditional Block Island start to summer, that heavy, heavy, wet fog. My son told me this morning that it must have rained last night. Everything was sopping. I said, no, I don't think it rained. I think it was just dew, right? And then it burns off and we have these perfect, stellar, little bit of breeze, blue sky, beach days. What a lovely, lovely weather season we're having. Lovely weather. We had the library open today. We are open from 10 to 2 for outdoor library service. We're not letting any public into the building yet. That was great fun. It's busy out there. If you're on island and haven't come to see us yet, please do. We meet all your library needs right there at the front door. We greet you. We can print, copy, scan, fax, email, get you books, get you DVDs. Our notary is back in the building. We can notarize things for you. All that is happening at the library. And the Wi-Fi is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Hipsters, they call that 24/7. And there's no password, wide open access, available for everyone all the time. And we purchased really fun outdoor furniture. So you're comfortable out there. There's umbrellas, there's tables, there's chairs. We go out periodically and wipe everything down. It feels safe. It's pretty. We've been working in the garden. All of that is happening. There's tables at the back of the building, at the front of the building. There's a chair on the side. I think there's a chair on the side. We put one there yesterday. I'm not sure if there's one there today. So, we're making it happen in our own way here on Block Island. But we continue to be, plagued by this virus and what's going to happen next. And I know that we have patrons that are fearful about leaving their homes. And so we're so happy to continue offering this program to you. We're not happy about the virus at all, right? But we're happy that we have established a YouTube channel where you can connect to us. And Miss Morgan, our youth services librarian, has posted tons of videos up here and continues to do so every week. So if you have grandchildren or children around your feet in your house looking for something to do, there's great stuff on our YouTube channel. There's adult programming on our YouTube channel. I continue to do this every day. Of course, I'm live. Most days I'm live at 3, but of course you can listen anytime that's convenient for you. Re-listen, listen. And we started some Zoom programming, which has been really working out well. So the Zoom programming is the Memoir Group and Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And that's a book group discussion, and that started today. So we're happy to get you hooked up with those things. Just send us an email or stop by, let us know, and we'll send you the Zoom link invitation. And it's not too late to start the book discussion. The Water Dancer today was an introductory session, and they're going to take a real slow read of that, a very strong contextual read of that story. People are enjoyed today's session. It'll be great for the next few sessions that we do it. So really not too late for that. And we have some books here at the library you can borrow. We also have it on audiobook, on CD, and I think we got a play away as well. But I might snag that. Or you come first. You come first always, but we'll see. All right, so I'm reading a short story today. I'm reading a short story today, but it resonated with me. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm reading from Ray Bradbury. I read from him a couple of times now. Like I'm probably more than 3 or 4. This could be 4th, if not 5th. This is Bradbury's Stories, 100 of Bradbury's most celebrated tales. It has an introduction by the author. It is in our library collection. It's a really good go-to for me because there's tons to read in here, and some are really short. So when I pre-read them, I can read like a few, and it's nice to sit down and read. So this is published. Let me see. This is published by William Morrow, and it was published in 2003. Copyright is Ray Bradbury's. Tons, look at the table of contents, tons of stories in this. Well, 100, I guess, right? 100, imagine that. And I think it's 2 volumes, so I don't know if this is 50 and the other volume is 50. I'm looking around for it, but I don't think it's in this room. I'm not sure about, it is in this room. What is this one? Oh, no, they're 2 separate. They're not in 2 volumes. This is 100 of Bradbury's most celebrated tales. The other is the stories of Ray Bradbury. Anyway, I'm going to read you one today, and I read it, and it made me think about, I'll read it, and then I'll just say a couple words after, which I don't normally do, but maybe today I will. Maybe I won't. Who knows? Okay, here we go. Ray Bradbury, The Naming of Names. They came to the strange blue lands and put their names upon the lands. Here was Hinkston Creek, and Lustig Corners, and Black River, and Driscoll Forest, and Peregrine Mountain, and Wilder Town. All the names of people and the things that the people did. Here was the place where Martians killed the first Earthmen, and it was Red Town, and had to do with blood. And here, where the second expedition was destroyed, and it was named Second Try. And each of the other places where the rocket men had set down their fiery cauldrons to burn the land, the names were left like cinders. And of course, there was Spender Hill and Nathaniel Yorktown. The old Martian names were names of water and air and hills. They were the names of snows that emptied south in stone canals to fill the empty seas, and the names of sealed and buried sorcerers and towers and obelisks. And the rockets struck at the names like hammers, breaking away the marble into shell, shattering the crockery milestones that named the old towns, in the rubble of which great pylons were plunged with new names: Iron Town, Steel Town, Aluminum City, Electric Village, Corn Town, Grain Villa, Detroit 2, all the mechanical names and the metal names from Earth. And after the towns were built and named, the graveyards were built and named too: Green Hill, Moss Town, Boot Hill, Bidawee, and the first dead went into their graves. But after everything was pinned down and neat and in its place, when everything was safe and certain, when the towns were well enough fixed and the loneliness was at a minimum, then the sophisticates came in from Earth. They came on parties and vacations, on little shopping trips for trinkets and photographs and the atmosphere. They came to study and apply sociological laws. They came with stars and badges and rules and regulations, bringing some of the red tape that had crawled across Earth like an alien weed, and letting it grow on Mars wherever it could take root. They began to plan people's lives and libraries. They began to instruct and push about the very people who had come to Mars to get away from being instructed and ruled and pushed about. And it was inevitable that some of these people pushed back. Short story today by Ray Bradbury, The Naming of Names. That's the second time I read that, so maybe re-listen since it's short. It did resonate with me. I think it's probably obvious. Maybe not. But has a little bit of an island feel there, you know, and all along I felt like that COVID was really like creating these barriers, like us and them, and mask wearers and not wearers, and, you know, rule followers and not rule followers, and islanders and off islanders. Like this us and them was just exaggerated and amplified, and such dangerous territory, us and them. Such bad language, such bad, really volatile behavior. So, and maybe that happens, my father says, sounds like BI, you know, maybe that happens in other places, right? I mean, I have family that moved north into Vermont and definitely was to get away from Jersey, right? And I had a discussion with my employees today about how I never go to Trader Joe's because that feels like New Jersey to me, and I moved away from New Jersey. So just some food for thought. Re-listen, or should I read it one more time quick? I'll read it one more time quick. How about that? I never do that if I can find it, because it was good the second time. I will say that. Let me read it one more time. Can I find it? What is that called? The Naming of Names. Oh, sorry, I closed it. I don't know if I can find it quick. Oh, yes, I can. Hopscotch was the one before it. If you want to hang in there to have me read it again, you can. If you sign off, I understand. Go about your day well. Let me see. Let me read it. Anybody who wants to hang in there. The Naming of Names by Ray Bradbury. They came to the strange blue lands and put their names upon the lands. Here was Hinkston Creek and Lustig Corners and Black River and Driscoll Forest and Peregrine Mountain and Wilder Town, all the names of people and the things that the people did. Here was the place where Martians killed the first Earthmen, and it was Red Town and had to do with blood. And here where the second expedition was destroyed, and it was named Second Try. And each of the other places where the rocket men had set down their fiery cauldrons to burn the land, the names were left like cinders. And of course, there was Splendor Hill and a Nathaniel Yorktown. The old Martian names were names of water and air and hills. They were the names of snows that emptied south in stone canals to fill the empty seas, and the names of sealed and buried sorcerers and towers and obelisks. And the rockets struck at the names like hammers, breaking away the marble into shale, shattering the crockery milestones that named the old towns, in the rubble of which great pylons were plunged with new names: Irontown, Steel, Town, Aluminum, City, Electric Village, Corntown, Grain Villa, Detroit 2. All the mechanical names and the metal names from Earth. And after the towns were built and named, the graveyards were built and named too: Green Hill, Mosstown, Boot Hill, Bidawee, and the first dead went into their graves. But after everything was pinned down and neat and in its place, when everything was safe and certain, when the towns were well enough fixed and the loneliness was at a minimum, then the sophisticates came in from Earth. They came on parties and vacations, on little shopping trips for trinkets and photographs and the atmosphere. They came to study and apply sociological laws. They came with stars and badges and rules and regulations, bringing some of the red tape that had crawled across Earth like an alien weed, and letting it grow on Mars wherever it could take root. They began to plan people's lives and libraries. They began to instruct and push about the very people who had come to Mars to get away from being instructed and ruled and pushed about. And it was inevitable that some of these people pushed back. All right, Ray Bradbury, The Naming of Names. So twice did I say that word wrong? Obelisk, 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 obelisk. Wasn't sure. Twice now. I had to read it live on TV and not sure I got it right twice. And then I wasn't sure about Detroit too. I should perhaps have read Detroit the second. Not sure. Anyway, thanks for coming to Frankenstein Tea. Let that short story sit with you for a moment. Listen again. Come back again. I'll be here tomorrow at 3:00. Thanks for coming. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Peace. Bye, Dad. Bye, Mom.